Let's tie my version of the Downey Wonder Nymph. I've got a 2457 Tiemco and a size, this is a size 16, and I'm using 17-aught uni thread, and the bead is a 2.2 millimeter tungsten bead. Tie the thread in, bring it back to the bend of the hook, and I'm building a little bump there. And the reason being is I've got some Coq de Leon in a dark Coq de Leon for the tail. The fibers, I think I've got about, a couple dozen fibers. Just trying to move the fibers to the top of the hook and adjust the length. And then lash down the rest of the Coq de Leon along the body, just to give it some weight. Bring it up to just before the bead and trim it off. Take my thread back down into my tie-in point. And I have a goose biot. And the way I'm applying it is that with the notch backwards or back towards the vise. And I'm tied in by the tip. And it's going to be my abdomen. Bring my thread up to the front, tie it off. Now I'm going to wrap my biot to the front, or towards the bead. My buddies are headed to the Bighorn this week, and I told them I'd tie some flies for them, and they heard and know that the Downey Nymph works rather well, and asked me if I would tie some. And I says, okay, I'll tie some for you, but I'll tie my version of it, my interpretation. This fly works just fine the way that Mr. Downey intended it to. I just put my little twist on it. And the twist is mainly I'm using CDC for the wing section, but I have it like that bat wing section that flares out pretty good. I just like the action of CDC versus just the back end or the after plume on a regular feather. And also, instead of, he does an interesting thing with the stem of the feather, it actually becomes the wing case, whereas I'm just going to use medallion sheeting. Trim off my excess goose biots. Interesting story about these. I got these biots from Shane Stalcott. His mom was over at his house. His mom was sorting these out. She sorts them out for hairline, and she gave me some. The biot's just an olive biot. Now you see, I just showed you some CDC in the natural dun, and I have it in a Pettigene clip. I find sometimes when I split 17-aught uni, it doesn't split so well. It doesn't go all the way down, and so I have to find a better section in the thread where it'll split easier and give me more of an opening. This one kind of works, but really doesn't, and so I retract and I try to find I'm going to try to find a better section in the thread. See, it didn't work, mainly because I didn't have enough area. Tried to split it again, and just decide to go further, wind it up, and go down further into the spool. And this happens with all threads. They don't, they're not really built for splitting. But so you have to sometimes search for it, and we're talking, half the size of a 8-aught, so, or even 10-aught, and so it's hard to split. But I like it because it just doesn't have any bulk, and when it splits really well. All right, I was able to get my thread in there. my Cul de Canard, or excuse me, CDC. Now I'm just spinning my CDC in my thread so that it'll capture the thread, capture the CDC and create a brush. Now I've got a piece of light done medallion sheeting, about 1/8 of an inch wide, and it's going to be my wing case. I'm going to preen those CDC filaments backwards as I wrap, so I don't trap too many of them. You're bound to trap some, but the majority of it will be preened back. And as I said, the CDC is just a natural done. Bring my wing case over, tie it down right behind the eye. See how I'd left a little space? It lets me tuck that thread back in there. Trim off my medallion sheeting. Tie it off. Trim off my thread. Adjust my feathers just a little bit so it has that bat shape that you get on the Downey Nymph, Wonder Nymph. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to put some medallion UV resin over the top. Hit it with my laser. And adjust my feathers. I like that bat wing shape that's created on the original Downey Wonder Nymph. Now at this point you could probably trim back all those excess length. I don't. I like them. I'm just trimming right underneath the hook so that the feathers go off to the side mainly. And that's my Downey Wonder Nymph.